No, not anymore.
No? Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Are you talking to us or the general collective?
Talking to the 5 million ants listening in the world to this very special episode of Blisspoint. It's Wednesday, August 1st. It is episode 12. 12 is divisible by 6, and by 2, and by 3, and by 4. That's why it's a special episode.
Well, when you put it that way.
Very special episode.
It's a dumb reason to be special.
Wow.
Somebody's in a poor mood.
Sorry, no, I'm good. I'm happy.
That's very hateful. Blisspoint, if you didn't know already, is a podcast and a website serving up music discussion, news, show and album reviews, and more. My name is Jordan Kaufman, and I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, Billy Gatewood.
Hello.
And Mr. Paul Kolb.
Hey, I'm always third.
Hey, do you want me to switch it?
No, it's alphabetical. It's fair.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. It is, actually. I should go second. Billy should go first. You should do the intro.
Should I do the intro from now on? I'd be really good at it.
Hi, guys. Hi, everybody.
Just that back of the throat voice.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, guys.
Perfect. So first, let's jump into some news. There has been no news for like the last month. It's been really scant. Nothing's been interesting. The one thing that did come out, there's two things, but the one thing that I found most interesting actually came out a couple days before we recorded, but I didn't really pick up steam until like later in the week. And Rolling Stone managed to either collect a bunch of interviews or stole quotes from a bunch of other people. It wasn't really clear in the article, but they managed to piece together why System of a Down has not put together an album in 13 years. Which one is kind of wild. I didn't think it was 13 years.
Yeah, I didn't realize it'd been that long.
It makes so much sense now.
It does. To boil down a very large article about why things are the way they were, Serj Tankian, the lead singer for System of a Down, ended up taking full blame for the hiatus, kind of citing a myriad of reasons, but the most principal being he was not getting full publishing rights and didn't feel his heart was not in the new music that they were trying to make. He didn't even want to record their last two albums, which I have always been a fan of. Everyone, I think, besides maybe you, Paul, that I've talked to, does not like Mesmerize and Hypnotize, which I find interesting. I think it's their most interesting work. It may not be their best work, but I think it's very different for them.
Definitely, and with some of the stuff they're talking about in this article, it's interesting. It's interesting that Serj was, I guess, less involved with those two albums, because you would think the guy who's not as into metal would kind of like the direction it took a bit more.
Right.
But it's an interesting time for this article to come out because the new Scars on Broadway came out.
Yeah, that's
for people who don't know, that's Darren Malakian's band of, the last 10 years?
Yeah, ish, somewhere in there.
And if you listen to it, what you'll notice is it sounds so much more like Mesmerize and Hypnotize.
Which, explains a lot of the writing process and how Serj was not really into it. Billy, were you ever System of a Down guy?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
But it is interesting to, I guess I'd always assumed that the band kind of revolved around Serj.
Sure.
And that he was the one that basically wrote most of the music.
Right. That's what I always assumed.
And it's interesting to hear that he was never really even into the music.
Mm-hmm. He was never into heavy metal,
right,
I think the article says, which is very interesting. Maybe... And to his credit and the band's credit, really, is they were the first, at least the most popular band of the nu metal era to really make political songs that were radio friendly. Mm-hmm. And maybe they didn't intend for them to be radio friendly, but it certainly felt like he was the backbone of that band, considering all the weird political shit they were talking about and all the satire that they got into, especially in their later career stuff. But It really is a shame. I always wonder what they would have been. And I don't know if they would have stood the test of time had they kept making records. I think I enjoy them being kind of perfect in my mind. Because to me, since I've loved all of their albums, with the exception of like maybe their first album, they've just been awesome. As far as like things that are new metal that I still enjoy, you know?
Yeah, people will get kind of weird when you put that NU hyphen in front of anything.
Right.
I don't know, I always felt like it seemed like it wasn't entirely fair just to group them in with all the other new metal bands.
That's fair. They were different enough that...
Yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I always find it funny that people shit on them like they're such a ridiculous band. Right.
Like they're just generic, butt rock. But, yeah. It was a very interesting article. Definitely go read it. It's cool to kind of see the behind-the-scenes stuff. This next one isn't really even a news thing, but I thought it was funny. Kendrick Lamar made his debut appearance on TV on the 50 Cent directed and written show, I think, called Power, that's on Stars. And he plays a very convincing crackhead. The two scenes that I saw on Twitter were ridiculous and kind of amazing.
He is surprisingly good.
Yeah, like better than 50.
Oh, way better
those
than
two
50
scenes that we watched.
I mean, the role 50's playing is probably more of a straight, like just a tough guy character.
Right.
I don't know the show at all.
Yeah, neither
just
do I.
My impression from those scenes.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny if Kendrick was an amazing actor, but he can only play crackheads.
I mean, true. It's just I think it speaks volumes to me that like the dude takes everything seriously.
Right, exactly.
Like, even like a dumb TV show on Stars, like he really went for it. Sorry.
Takes it seriously, but he signs up for dumb TV shows.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not dumb. I guess I haven't watched it. I've heard good things. I'll eventually check it out, I imagine.
No, you won't.
Shut up, Billy. Next, let's get into what we've been listening to, and that encompasses the best, worst, good, noteworthy, mediocre, important, inconsequential, sometimes album-related shows, singles, and new releases of the week. And the first thing on the docket is a couple shows, really a bunch of shows in one.
That's right.
If we're being honest. Billy, this first thing on the list, you saw Warped Tour.
I went to the last Warped Tour at least in our area.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hot as balls.
Yeah. Seems like it.
It was brutally hot.
It's traditional for Warped Tour, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And Merriweather, I mean, I hadn't been there
that summer
Warped
festival?
Tour.
Dude, Merriweather's so nice now, isn't it?
It used to be on grass, or like at least like gravel and dirt, and they paved it, so now it's like a just cement concrete slab that you're just roasting under the sun, and it's reflecting back.
That's pretty rough.
But that's not, I mean, that's Warped Tour, you expect it, so whatever.
So, who was the headliners?
I don't know.
Is there a headliner for Warped Tour?
There's no real headliner.
Sure.
They switch.
Who was the last band that you saw?
The last band that I saw was Every Time I Die.
Okay.
Which was sick.
Sure, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, they, as the tour's gone on, they've consistently gotten like the best set of the day in many of the stops. And so they were a good way to end it out. We started the day with some of the more like metalcore stuff that I wanted to see. So we started with Dayseeker and In Heart's Wake.
Okay, those sound like metalcore names.
They were both fantastic. They were both really, really good. In Heart's Wake got my set of the day.
Oh, interesting.
They're an Australian metalcore band.
Okay.
They were incredible.
How long was their set?
Everybody plays for 30 minutes. Everybody plays for 30 minutes.
That's kind of cool that it's very short.
No matter if you're the first band on or the last band off, everybody plays for 30 minutes, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm into that.
So, and you get the best of it. You get their best set, or what they consider their best.
Right, because they want to condense it down
6
to
or 7 songs.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
So that was a really good start to the day. I'd say my second favorite set of the day was Broadside, which I wasn't expecting, but
that name sounds familiar.
Super pop punk, but a little heavier live.
Sure,
really solid, really tight. 5 or 6 piece set, but really, really good live. And they had a lot of good energy, and they had like, I'm not usually into the super pop punk, but they had enough of like a heavy tone to them that I was pretty into it. Third favorite set of the day.
Well, boys, the only thing I care about, I think...
He's got a glint in his eye,
you're going to say.
I hope.
I think I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
Necro-goblin.
Oh, not the
what
one
you
that
were
I thought you were going to
expecting?
say, but very excited to hear about this.
Oh my god!
I'm so jealous you saw them.
This was one of my highlights of the summer, probably.
Oh, that's so fucking awesome.
This was incredible.
Billy, can you explain for the listeners? And
Necro-goblin.
Yeah, also the
Yes.
etymology of the word and the origin.
So, if you've never heard of goblin metal before, it's a brand
Are
of
there
metal.
more bands in Goblin Metal?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they're the only ones.
Because when I saw the text for me that said like they're Goblin Metal, I was like, is Gore playing Warped Tour? Like,
No, it's-
for
This
some
sounds like
reason,
a
I
bit
just thought.
from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Anyway,
It's
sorry, go ahead.
basically it's just
is.
one large bit, and it's great. All their promo photos, it's like a 6-piece band and a goblin.
the goblin
And
doesn't
a
do
goblin.
anything.
And a goblin.
The goblin doesn't do anything, right?
No, the goblin doesn't do
He
anything.
just fucking runs around.
But
on
he
stage.
actually comes out on stage and just
God,
hypes the
yes.
crowd the whole time.
Yes.
And it was so good. And it's not like, I mean, these are clearly guys that are just so good at like thrash metal that like they just don't know what to do with themselves because they have so much just talent.
Right.
And so they're like,
And that's why you bring a goblin.
Right, exactly. You're like, we're just gonna write dumb songs and like
Right.
we're gonna make a joke
Sure,
out of this,
yeah, absolutely.
because we can't even take ourselves seriously.
Yeah.
And God, it was it was so
Those
good,
snaps were probably the highlight of my day on Sunday. Like, so fucking funny and ridiculous. And
so ridiculous.
they had an album that came out this year that I added
Yeah.
to my list. Like, specifically,
Oh, yeah.
I was like very stoked to check it out because
Dude.
what I heard was fucking rad.
And this,
Yeah.
this guy was running around in full monster makeup in the middle
full
of summer.
it's like full on like costume, like really
down to
like
the skin,
it's a
doesn't
pretty
it?
good, yeah. Like I mean, he's got like a mouth that moves and like his
Yeah.
eyes. You can see it's not like some like cheap, crappy like made
Yeah,
like
he's wearing like a hoodie and shit.
yeah.
and
He
It's
had
a
like
quality
pants.
goblin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
this is
a
a nice
quality goblin.
yeah. Well, we found our podcast
Dude.
title for today.
That was oh gosh, that set was so good.
That's
so
awesome.
good. I mean, there are tons of other good sets. Who were you thinking I was going to say third?
Movements. I
Movements.
have not heard from Movements yet. Oh, were
So-
they disappointing?
No, not disappointing.
Okay.
They were super good. The only problem was they were one of the later shows inside the pavilion.
Okay.
The sound in the pavilion sucked so bad
That
for
sucks.
everybody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because I saw you snap from the pavilion.
Yeah.
I could not hear.
dude,
what
it was really
for the life of me.
muffled and
Yeah.
just like did not sound
That sucks.
good. But you can. I would love to see them in a better setting because they would be really good.
Sure.
You can tell they would be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to check them out. So you saw Metalcore first, then Necrogoblin,
Yeah.
and then Movements.
Yeah,
Or-
in between we saw Trash Boat. We saw
Okay.
Trash Boat, who
Yeah.
we'll talk about later.
Okay.
They're really good. Saw Grayscale again.
What's Grayscale?
Grayscale is another like emo hardcore
Okay.
pop punk type deal.
And that's like GRAY scale. Mm-hmm. Okay. Not the Game of Thrones disease grayscale.
No, not that.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Who else did we see? Yeah, Maggie and I stuck together pretty much the whole day.
Okay.
And just jumped stage to stage.
Planning to split up?
Well, at times we didn't know what the schedule was going in. And there's, a lot of bands that I'm sure she wanted to see and a lot of bands that I wanted to see that
Sure.
were on like our must-see list. And it just happened to line up. And,
Cool. That's good.
we worked it out to where we didn't feel like we really missed anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we missed Good Charlotte, which I know your wife would be very bummed about, but they were playing at the same time as Goblin Metal, so.
Oh, I mean, Necrogoblin clearly wins
Right.
in that argument.
Would she murder me if she found out that I missed Good Charlotte because they were playing at the
Absolutely.
same time?
Absolutely. I can't wait for her to hear about this.
I bet that little goblin would play a Caps hat if he was playing in the DMV.
Probably, right?
I would go see them.
Yeah.
I would get fucked up.
Oh,
in the
another
face.
one that I forgot about. August Burns Red.
Yeah.
I'm not like huge.
I've heard a lot of good things about them. I don't know that
God,
I've ever
they were
been into
so
them.
good
Okay.
live.
I like the
So,
guitars.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
They're kind of like a less progressive Between the Bird and Me. Yes, is that a good description?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like a less interesting beta band.
And then I'd
You're selling
say
on it.
and I also our friends Ross, Danny, and Dean also went. 4 Years Strong was another crowd pleaser.
I've heard a lot of good things about them.
Yeah,
I can never get into them.
I don't know them that well, and the pavilion sound just sucked.
Yeah.
To where it kind of ruined it for me.
Sure.
But I could tell, in a different setting, they would have been really good.
Yeah, that's good.
So Warped Tour was sweet. It was a really good last one.
Last hurrah. That's good. This next one, I think Paul and I are both very excited to hear your take on it. So you saw Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson at
Jiffy Lube Live.
Jiffy Lube Live, sorry. I was going to say Nissan, and then, yeah, it's the same. But yeah, I want to know, we know how you got there, but I want to know what you thought.
Yeah, so it was the very last minute I got there for free. So
That's a pretty good deal for free.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I thought you had gotten, like, the free Live Nation tickets.
Yeah, right.
Because, like, the best shows on that list were, like, Evanescence, and I was like, maybe I didn't see Rob Zombie. Like, I could see that being on the list.
Right.
Yeah, so, anyway.
So that's the only reason I really went, because, obviously they're two big names in whatever that genre is. And I don't know, what do you call that genre? Is it metal, or is it just hard rock?
At this point, I think Marilyn Manson probably leans hard rock. I haven't heard any of his output
I don't
in the
know.
last probably 10 years.
I think we get too crazy with all these genres and shit.
It's hard, yeah.
It's rock and roll.
Okay.
But he's got that horror movie aesthetic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's definitely descriptive
okay.
for
Almost
sure.
like gore rock.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
Sure.
I like it.
We'll make that
Let's
up.
go for it. Yeah.
So yeah, I went in not really having any idea what to expect. I expected a lot of entertainment value, a lot of stage production.
Sure.
I expected to see a lot of different things, and I did.
Was the crowd interesting?
I mean, what do you think the crowd was like?
Like beautiful
Just
mess of like juggalo culture and like weird people that come out of the woodwork.
Yes.
I picture a lot of folks in their mid to late 30s and black t-shirts. Probably a lot of inadvisable tattoos.
A lot of obesity, rampant obesity. Yep.
Maybe a few like rockabilly looking chicks.
Yes.
Yep. Me and Keith went in with a nice long checklist of what we were expecting to see.
Did you play bingo?
Checked it all off.
Nice.
Every time we saw somebody, check
like
that
it.
one off.
I like
check
it.
that
No, but I
one
mean,
off.
you went in with kind of fresh ears since you weren't
Yeah,
into it. Back in the day.
I don't know any of their music really.
Sure.
I mean, I'm sure I've heard a few things here and there, but
everyone's heard a
didn't
Marilyn
know.
Manson song.
I couldn't even tell you what Marilyn Manson's biggest songs are, what he's going to close with. I have no idea.
Did he close with Burn Through the Witches?
I don't know.
He played a song.
To be clear, I could take or leave Marilyn Manson, but Rob
and
Zombie seems like a good
which
choice.
one was good and which one was bad?
Going into sitting there and seeing the hype around, the show starting, it was clear that everybody was really excited for Rob Zombie.
Sure.
And everybody was just mediocre on Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
They probably know the scene much better than I do, and I can see why. Marilyn Manson came on, and he might be 49 or 50 years old. He moves like he's about 80.
Sure.
Spent most of the night on his knees because I think he was just too tired of walking. I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but I actually do think that's true. I think
years of hard drugs and being weird.
Yeah,
and
he's just kind of got like a super dad bod with like the triple chin.
Yeah.
Still wears all the makeup and, the unbuttoned shirts and stuff like that.
Sure.
And, I mean,
it's part of his image.
Out for blood right now.
No. I'm not.
Just describing.
He wasn't that good. So, and maybe it could also just be it's the music that I'm not really like.
Sure.
It was very boring. Like
I've
guitar
heard
wise,
new stuff is not great.
Guitar wise, like very boring. Marilyn Manson, like there was not one solo, one lead riff. It was all just basic power chords.
John 5 was playing with both bands?
No.
Just playing with Zombie.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
So that's essentially the last thing that interests me about Manson has left that band.
Oh, was he part of Manson?
He was.
Originally,
I did
yes.
not know that.
Back when Manson was good, John 5 was like a big part of that.
Interesting.
But you know what's funny is like all the interviews that have come out over the years. John 5's a really serious musician. He didn't really fit in with the party scene of that group.
Yeah,
and
right.
He was kind of bullied.
Interesting. And that's funny that it played out this way, because in between Marilyn Manson ended and my buddy Keith, who I went with, asked me, what you think? And I was like, didn't really do much for me. Like,
Sure.
people spend all this money. I expect to see some like talented musicians come out. Like, that dude didn't do anything for me. Like, he played a couple of power chords and anybody could do that. I was like, I'm really, and I don't know anything about Rob Zombie or the band or anything like that. So I was like, really hoping like the next guitarist that comes out with Rob Zombie is like, he better be pretty good.
My man.
And whew, did I get my no money's worth?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Good Lord, he was incredible.
Awesome.
I don't know anything about the dude. I mean,
John Five's a fucking badass,
If
dude.
I may, like everyone who's not familiar with him, you might not be guitar nerdy enough to get into a bunch of instrumental guitar music, but John Five is this crazy amalgam of like a kid who grew up watching Hee Haw, like country picking guitar. That's why he plays Telecasters and stuff, and then mixed with metal.
Yeah.
So his style is this weird hybridized like metal country thing.
Fucking badass.
Yes,
great.
exactly. It was. Oh man, it was. He as soon as he started, you're like, this dude is just natural for him. Like, he could do this with his eyes closed. I think he probably started the show not even strumming, just like going to town with just his left hand. Like,
all right, cool.
I was like, all right, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be pretty good.
How did Rob sound?
Dude,
He's looking real haggard lately. I think
he's
his
looking
Yeah.
real rough. He is not acting like it.
Okay, that's
his
good.
voice is spot on.
Awesome.
He's jumping from stage to stage, just freaking
Sure.
plowing around back and forth.
Awesome.
Didn't miss a note. All of them moving around a ton. Their stage presence was insane. It was really good.
That's
People
fucking
were
awesome.
loving it. I mean, it was just like they had a good, like, just a good party rock and roll scene to them.
Absolutely.
And I mean, again, I didn't know a single song, but at least it kept my interest. Like,
Right, yeah.
watching it was entertaining enough to be like, this is really, really cool.
That's
And
awesome.
to see those like solos and just the riffing and stuff like that, like that had me glued.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's awesome. Good to know. I would actually be interested in seeing Rob Zombie now.
I would, if especially because his stuff, like I would highly recommend it, because people were loving it.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure that's
I could see
half
why.
the vibe, right? So that's awesome. Cool. So up next we have singles of the week, and quite a bit this week. A lot of good stuff to make up for the lack of music. First we have Foxing. So initially we listened to Nearer My God, which is kind of the louder upbeat of the two. And then we checked out Slapstick, which is kind of more their style, like a little slower, a little more emo, twinkly kind of vibe. What did you guys think of the two?
Man, I enjoyed both.
I did.
I enjoyed both. I agree that Slapstick's more their style. The other one is not. I'd be interested to see how they do it. Like you said,
It's electronic.
It's very
in a weird
electronic,
way.
yeah.
It kind of reminded me of Foals a little bit, like their recent, more arena rock output. So I'm curious to see.
Yeah, and I was even saying vocally, it kind of sounded like M83. Like,
Yes,
it was
definitely.
Yeah, it was kind of. I'd be interested to see how he does that. But I didn't mind it either.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
No, it was good. It's a different direction for them. So I'm cautiously optimistic and curious.
If the album is a good balance of those two singles,
Yes,
I'd be happy with it.
Absolutely, for sure. And definitely go check out the Slapstick video. It is kind of grotesque and weird, but it's
Only
very
in moments. But
very
yeah, it's
charming.
a cool concept.
Yeah, it
it's
is. It's
neat.
interesting.
It's very weird. Next track, 1975. Love it if we made it. A lot of people very, very hype about this track. They've been getting a lot of like critical love lately, which is odd to me, but only because I've never really liked them and never understood why people liked them.
Yeah, maybe people are getting burnt out on the 80s vocals.
Maybe.
Not me.
Yeah, I know, not you.
But this song, kind of repetitive, kind of one vibe for the whole thing. I thought the instrumental was good.
The instrumental is very good. I like what they did with it, and it. I mean, yes, it's very 80s, but it's groovy.
Yeah, but it's not like overtly 80s in a way that is obnoxious. And the vocals are very obnoxious, which is the thing that always kills this band for me anyways. But I kind of liked it, which for me is very different for myself. I impressed myself today.
Good for
is
you.
what I'm trying to say.
Good for you.
So definitely go check it out.
Yeah,
It's
his
pretty
vocals
good.
are exhausting.
Yes. Joyce Manor, next track, $1 Million to Kill Me. Never been a huge Joyce Manor fan, but I thought this was very different in a way. Well, not different, because it's still very much pop punk for them, but I've never really liked the kind of yelpy Joyce Manor vocals, and this kind of seemed to tone it down a little bit, which made me like it. I don't know how you guys felt about it, though.
I feel the opposite.
You feel the opposite?
Yeah.
You did not like it?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Now that I liked their old. At least I liked the old stuff or the old style a little better. This was a little too clean for me.
It's not as hype, or not
Yeah.
hype, but it's not as like manic.
Yeah.
Like it was very kind of even keel the whole time. But yeah, it's pretty good. Next up, Chance the Rapper released 4 new tracks, which we may have touched on last time, and half of them are pretty good. The other half are just kind of obnoxious. And I picked I Might Need Security as my favorite one. Billy, I know you're not a fan, but Paul, what'd you think?
I'm with you on that one. Like, that particular track's probably the strongest. I liked all of them.
Yeah,
I
forget the one. I think Workout, I think, was the one with the upright bass, which was dope.
Oh my god, yeah.
But the verse was just okay.
Yeah, but that bass sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I felt like the vocals were kind of busy on it.
Paul, make
Yeah.
your point again that you made to me, because I thought it was very good and it explains my
the Menlo's triangle
Yeah.
of
Yeah, to
pleasure or whatever it is.
Exactly. I always think of it when I'm listening to Chance albums, because it's kind of like you can pick 2 things to be strong, and then the third point's always going to be a little weaker.
Mm-hmm.
So if I hear a Chance track and there's like a really great hook or like a really great instrumental portion,
Yeah,
I know that maybe it won't be his strongest verse.
yeah, that's
And then it just kind of flips around.
yeah. I've always gone to him for the really good production, pretty good beats, and very just positive, uplifting vocals.
That's true. Even if it's not his strongest, it's always good. It's
Yeah.
always pleasant.
Yeah,
You want
and
to hear it.
It's
Unless you're
very
Billy.
different for today's marketplace. That's always about, a million different negative things, which there's good reason for. But it's just nice to hear something different.
It makes me more excited for what he does with Kanye. Let's get
Absolutely.
weird.
Let's get weird. This next track, speaking of getting weird, this next track, Alec K. Redfearn and the Seizures. The song is The Hole. I don't know why I like this song.
Me
I
neither.
really don't. But it kind of hooked me in a very weird way. It's like I hate to bring this up, especially because the band specifically rejects this notion of genre and everything. But it's mostly accordion. It has a very gypsy kind of feel to it. It is very weird. Paul, you said it was very metal. The vocals are very dark. I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah, in tone, not in like actual sound.
Yes. There's a really dope, like, distorted either ukulele or accordion solo we couldn't really figure out. Paul, did you like it?
I did.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'm glad I was not the only one.
And the thing is, I know that even in their own descriptions of their music, they have to say things like, we're not pirate metal, we're not gypsy metal. All that.
Right.
I didn't get that vibe from it. I just imagine that if you play accordions in your band and you're not a ranchero band, you're going to get a lot of that.
Right. And there may be some offensive connotation to just labeling anything with an accordion gypsy genre.
Oh, I'm sorry, traveling genre.
Sorry, traveling genre. No, I was just musing about my own stereotyping. But anyways, next song, Guerilla Toss. The song is called Meteorological. I loved their album that came out last year. Very, very weird, groovy 80s post-punk. And this kind of continues the trend. I know I'm a fan, but what about you guys?
I didn't I grew it. I noticed. Yeah, God, Jesus. It grew on me as it went along. I did like the instrumental quite a bit, and the vocals weren't even that bad. It kind of just seemed to. It all fit together.
Yeah, the yelpy vocals I think are the hardest thing usually for new Guerilla
It's a
Toss
fun
fans.
little track,
Right, but
It
at the
is.
same time, if you were to take that out, I'm not sure it would really stand apart.
Exactly.
No,
Because it's
definitely.
exactly.
really nice, groovy instrumentation,
Yeah.
but it's that weird vocal style that makes it unique.
Yes, absolutely. It's very, very good. Definitely check it out. Speaking of very good, Potato Salad. Where are we at on Potato Salad?
Really like this track.
I also like the food dish, but the track itself, Potato Salad, by Mr. Tyler, the Creator. Do you think he goes by Mr. the Creator?
Until you said Tyler Trek, I didn't know what you were talking about.
I just remember it from the video where they go, potato salad. And I'm like, oh, that must be the title.
So it's Tyler, the Creator, and ASAP Rocky. The song is called Potato Salad. Best Rocky output I've heard in quite a while. Tyler fucking bodies this verse.
Carries him and all the chains.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know who did production. I would assume it's Tyler, but I'm not sure. Jazz rap Tyler is my favorite Tyler.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
He's just going to keep getting stronger. I love it.
He's just got a really quirky, fun verse. Makes a lot of like PlayStation and like video gaming references. They're just really cool and interesting.
Like you said, this is probably Rocky's better verse in quite a while, and it still sounds
still
like garbage compared to what Tyler does at the beginning.
Absolutely. But it's still very worth checking out. Next up, Innanet James. The song's called Bag. I mainly picked this just like that Toro et Moi produced track that we heard a couple weeks ago. I mainly picked this because the beat was insane. I really, really liked it. What did you guys think?
Same opinion as that song with Tori and Wah.
Yeah,
strong production, terrible vocals.
Could take out the vocals. I didn't mind the vocals that much, but it certainly was not the strong part of the track for me. The instrumental is like this cool, like jazzy piano based beat.
Oh, the piano is so good.
It's real neat. Second to last, we have the band Ellis, and the track is called "The Drain." Right up Billy's alley. Some hazy shoegazy dream pop with some girly vocals and some good guitar. I like this song a lot,
dude. It was really good.
I'm very picky about my dream pop, but this was very, very good.
And you called it. I hadn't heard this band or this song before you showed me today, and you said, I think this is going to be right up your alley, and it sure was.
And it was. Paul, what'd you think?
How does it feel to be predictable? That's right. You bathe in that.
You got me.
It was good. I really liked it. I try to keep an open mind about anything that has kind of a shoegaze or that kind of dreamy sound.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, right up my alley.
Yeah. And this last track, surprising to me, Blood Orange, Charcoal Baby is the track name. Artist is Blood Orange. Billy, I know you're a pretty big Blood Orange fan, yes? Did you like it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's in tune with everything else that he's been doing, and it just brings that strong, funky like production, but with those R&B vocals that he just like
he hits that Prince in a way that I have been wanting him to do, and I really dig this track a lot.
Yeah,
like the really funky, like detuned guitars is really neat. His simple vocal styling is very cool on the track too. Yeah,
solid. It's funny. The electric guitar was the only thing that did anything for me in the mix.
Yeah, that's fair.
I like where it sits, and it was really tasteful.
Yeah, it dominates the track. I mean, I don't even recall hearing the vocals all that much, just because I was obsessed with the guitar. But very, very good track.
And I feel like that's kind of what Blood Orange does. I don't think anything really necessarily stands out in any of his. It's not necessarily like glam, like you're gonna remember.
Right.
It's just good mood music.
It's funny you say that because that's what I was thinking the whole time. Is it's really solid, but I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah,
weeks from now.
Sure,
it just doesn't do anything to stay with me.
Yeah, absolutely. So next up we have new releases, and Billy, tell us about the garbage truck boat. Why are they called trash boat?
I don't know.
Billy?
Why does anybody call it anything?
I love it. The name is great. I want to know where trash boat came from. Because they're not from here. They sound British or Australian.
They're British.
Okay. Is trash boat a thing in Britain?
Maybe that's what they call tugboats.
Maybe.
It's
a nice
idea.
British vernacular
Trash
for
barges.
tugboat.
Doesn't roll off.
I'm into
tongue.
it. Anyway, introduce.
Trash boat. They are the new release, new album is Crown Shyness.
It's a cool name.
They
Very cool
are,
name.
yeah, right. They're kind of like a emo hardcore pop punk mix. UK band.
You nailed it.
You know, right? I don't know. This new album is a little bit heavier than their older stuff, which I am a fan of.
You're a
I'm
fan
a fan
of
of
the
this new heavy sound that they have.
Okay.
The guitar work is really, really good.
Yeah, I did not.
So
the one slow song on here, I was not a fan of.
Yeah.
So
you know,
yeah,
that was kind of lost me there too.
Sure.
Didn't need that song. Yeah, and then so he even like picks up, I think, his vocals a little bit, and it's just a little heavier. He's a little bit more screaming.
Yeah.
And it's just powers through over and over again. Like each track, I think that's what got me when I was listening to it for the first time through. Like every track just kept like powering through.
Yeah, it's
which
like
I was really thrilled with.
Anthemic pummeling kind of feeling, just kind of just driving.
And his vocals do that. His vocals will like wear you down, but in a good way.
Yeah. I found myself, I like the vocalists that can do both, and when you can hear them strain between the two, I think it's like a weird like zone for me that just it gets me going every time.
Yeah, right.
It's very exciting. When he does like long strings of like raw vocals, it kind of gets a little monotonous. So I like when he's kind of darting in between the two. And you can kind of hear him crack. I think that's awesome. But yeah, it's any particular reason why this was your new release over something else?
It seemed like a good, solid, full album to me. You know, I can get
it's
a little
short too.
It was short, and I can get a little picky with albums, and you know, I expect a lot out of it, and so I think I enjoyed most of this. Like, I think my one disappointment was that slow song kind of like lost me a little bit.
Yeah,
but getting past that, like, it just was a collection of a lot of solid songs, which is not necessarily easy to do with this genre, and to like keep doing it.
Yeah. I think for me, the only thing that kind of held me was there's nothing really stood out for me. Like when I hear stuff like this, I always think of like Knuckle Puck, which for some people this may stand out more than Knuckle Puck does, or like Boston Manor, which I'm not even a huge fan of, but like I think they do interesting things as well. But definitely like very well polished and put together, and a lot of cool like guitar work I think on this thing.
Yeah, I thought that was my favorite part, was the guitar work. The guitar riffing was really, really solid and really heavy, and his vocal matching was just, you know, it really got me going. So my favorite tracks were Inside Out, Shade, and Don't Open Your Eyes. And I think you like them if you're into like Trophy Eyes, Boston Manor, like you said, and Movements. We've talked about all those bands.
Great. So are those all three of those UK? Does UK have their own like weird pop punk?
Trophy Eyes is Australian.
Okay.
Boston Manor's UK. Movements are they from here?
They might be.
I think they're from here.
I thought they were British.
They
for some
could be.
reason,
I don't know.
I think they may be just touring in Britain.
Yeah, I think they're from here.
But anywho, thank you, good sir. Let's jump into Paul's new release.
Oh, yeah.
We touched on this briefly before we started recording, Paul, but your new release is Hive Mind by the Innanet.
Oh,
and
yes.
that would be the band The Internet, not the collective Internet.
No, that would be far too much music.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, what did you think?
I really liked it. So, you know, couldn't make it my album of the week just because maybe every track's not a gem to me.
Sure.
But it's definitely worth checking out. If you're not familiar, they're kind of an alternate R&B sort of sound. Started off as like one of the projects that was associated with Odd Future, so probably familiar.
They were like instrumental, like the instrumental portion of Odd Future sometimes.
Yeah, like I think a lot of the female vocals are Sid the Kid. So if you saw the movie Dope, I think she was in that.
Yes,
but
great movie, by the way.
They really, if I had to boil the whole thing down, if you like early to mid 90s R&B, check it out. It's really good. I think on this one I really enjoyed a lot of the bass hooks, a lot of the rhythm sections. The thing for me though is they use a lot of program beats, which is that's kind of their sound, but it seems kind of empty to me at times.
Yeah, and it's I think you made this point earlier, like, or maybe it was somebody else, like if they had just used live drums, like a fucking real ass kit drummer, I think this would easily be an album of the year for me. One of, like, it just the way that the program beats are mixed sometimes really takes away from the rest of the instrumentation.
Right.
It's like the best part of this album. It's a weird choice.
I'm really glad you guys say that, because I had one comment about this album, and it was that it doesn't feel complete to me.
Really?
It just feels lacking. And, well, that's what it is, though. It's like the songs all sound like demos. Like they weren't ever fully polished and hammered out, and with the, good production and stuff like that. It just sounded like it was a demo track.
Yeah, I think part of that is just that's the sound they cultivated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're really proud of... I mean, I guess that's why people always put the alt in front of R&B. Because otherwise it'd just be a solid R&B album.
Yeah, absolutely.
The lyricism... I don't find a lot of depth there. It's a lot of very relatable topics. It's
pretty basic.
Yeah, it's very pleasant. Like, has a great vibe to it. It's not something I necessarily would do a lot of thinking on.
It's good. It's good cooking music for sure.
Yeah,
it's real great.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I would say try the tracks. Come over next time. / Ooh, it's Humble Pie. Because one runs into the other. They share a spot on the listing.
That's a good trick.
And then La Di Da.
La Di Da's so good. Oh, shit.
What a name for an R&B track, right?
Yeah, right. It's got a really good, like Spanish feel to it. I like that song a lot. It's very cool. So jump into my new release. A quick shout out, real quick. I listened to this last week, and I wanted to mention it. It's only 2 tracks. Kevin Devine does his Divinal splits on a fairly regular basis. He recorded one with David Bazan of Pedro the Lion fame, and they cover 2 old Now tracks, and they're fucking great. It's very,
I didn't
very
know
good. about
this.
Yeah, you should definitely check it out. It's very, very good.
Nice.
Good shit.
You love you some Pedro the Lion.
I do. I want to see them soon. So my album for new release was Almost by the Ophelias. And this album really hooked me at first, and then kind of listened to it, and it started to lose me a little bit in the production. I think production and really overall performances. It's a really neat kind of gloomy. I don't want to say dream pop because it's not that kind of hazy, but it got that indie. It's got that dark indie pop vibe, like a lot of despondent lyricism and like sad guitars and everything.
You can admit to liking a little bit of hazy dream rock shoegaze. It's okay.
I do like it. I don't like all of it. And this stuff, the main thing for me was there's parts on this album that just feel super, super rough. I think my favorite thing and least favorite thing about this album is that there's a lot of violin, which I think adds so much to this genre. Really, really cool, like crescendo, like ambient violins. In I think O Command, there's this really cool like string section at the beginning. But there's other songs like House, which is so close to being a really, really good song, where the violin just sounds out of tune the whole time, and it doesn't fit all the way, and the guitars are never in sync with each other, and it has this awful transition into the chorus where it like switches beats, but it's so painfully jarring that like you are grooving with the song, like you're bobbing your head, and then it almost changes BPM so quickly, and they switch to the down, like a different beat. It's not all the way there. But everything else I really, really liked. The vibes on, and that would be vibraphones on at Night Signs toward the end, are very, very cool. Songs like General Electric and Night Signs Again kind of get the goosebump feeling going. With the hopeless lyrics, but it's really cool, like simple, catchy guitars that I really liked a lot. And I really can't wait to hear more from these guys. I really hope that they can clean it up for their next album, because I was just really impressed overall with this whole thing. Favorite tracks are General Electric, O Command, and Night Signs. Related artists are Snail Mail, Soccer Mommy, and old now, like specifically Threads is kind of what got me going. But for our next section, the album of the week, the best shit of the week. In this first one, Mr. Billy, you had this one early.
I did.
This is like unprecedented.
Yeah.
I
had this like the day after we recorded our last episode.
What you got for us?
So my album of the week is Single Rider by Jenn Champion. And I would like you to read your first comment because I think that's accurate.
The first thing I thought of when I put on the first track was Billy fucking would like this.
You're darn right I would.
So it's everything that I've known about you to love.
Yep.
But I want to hear what you thought about it.
So Jenn Champion, she's I struggle with trying to define what she does exactly.
Yeah, I was under the impression that this was like an electronic album at first.
It's
because that's what all the press that I had seen about it.
Oh, really? I hadn't even seen anything on it. I didn't even know anything about it going into it. I was expecting like some sort of like Courtney Burnett type stuff or something.
Sure. It definitely gives off that vibe.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's singer-songwriter, but it's got hints of dreamy, clean guitar, piano, but then like funky drum production and bass. And not to say it's upbeat, but to say it's kind of, I think she's going for like this sad vibe, but kind of with a little bit of a sexual, like,
it's so
dancey,
weird.
like,
Yes.
It describes Billy
groove.
pretty well.
Thank you.
Low key sexy, but also very sad and
Very
depressed.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you. No wonder
Sexy with a frown.
That's the best compliment I could have ever received.
Oh, yeah. This is what I've been going for my whole life. I'm glad it's finally showing. Yeah, so it's a good mix. Like, what I would typically not like about albums, I love on this because it starts out electronic and a little bit more upbeat, but slowly transitions into this, like, the last, like, 3 or 4 tracks are basically just piano and, like, vocals.
Yeah.
But it's so good, and it actually flowed for me.
Yeah, it surprisingly was cohesive. Like, the first time I listened to it, I was not into the, like, quiet... It was, like, quiet disco-ish, and then kind of transitions into, like, sad pop, and then, like, funky pop.
Yeah.
And then back into, like, sad emo stuff. And it didn't quite gel at first.
Yeah.
But I think it does have a nice flow to it, surprisingly.
Yes, and it's either cloudy weather or nighttime music. No matter how much, electronic, like upbeat disco type stuff there might be, it's still very moody. And so I think that plays a huge part into like your listening experience. Is like you need to have the right setting, and I'm like that with everything, but like with this album in particular, I think it's definitely meant to be listened to either like at night or it's not like a hype kind of upbeat.
Yeah, they definitely like do not get that connotation with the term funky because it's
right,
like,
exactly.
It's like if you took Earth, Wind and Fire September and like lowered the BPM by like 40
and
like
just made
really
it real
slowed the song
sad
down and then just made it like a minor key.
Yes, exactly.
That's what this is.
Exactly.
Like, it's not funky in the like Bootsy Collins like sense.
Yeah.
At all.
We keep seeing beats per minute, kids.
Sorry, BPM, beats per minute. Sorry.
So I get like all sorts of like weird inspiration from it. Like I hear a little bit of like classics,
Sure,
but then I also hear like a little bit of Copeland, and it just is a weird, perfect combination of like if somehow she makes it work.
She does.
Her vocals are very just like dreamy, kind of like clean, easy vocals with a lot of like reverb and stuff on it. So just
I think for better or for worse, it's very understated. Like simultaneously is like the most interesting thing about it. But for me, kind of got boring at points. But it definitely is like I don't think it would have worked with any other type of vocal.
No, exactly.
I think it's perfect for this album.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I like that it's a good mix of like real guitar and piano instrumentation.
Yeah, the drums were an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Like some songs, I really, really like them, but I'm not sure why she chose to go. It is live, right? It seems like live drums.
Yeah, it's probably
maybe
some sort of
sequenced? I don't know.
drum pad, maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not exactly
Yeah,
sure.
because it feels rigid in a way that feels electronic, but it sounds organic.
Yeah, it might be just like an
weird.
analog drum pad or something.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not
would make sense.
really sure,
that would make
but
sense. I could see that.
I like the production value because it sounds polished, but also DIY kind of like.
It's not sterile in the way that I hate.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of warm and loose.
I don't know. It's probably one of my top 3 albums of the year so far.
Awesome.
If not my top album of the year so far, just because it was
Great.
such a surprise.
Yeah. It's very cool.
But yeah, my favorite. I mean, it was hard for me to pick my favorite tracks from this album, but I went ahead and went with "Holding On," "Mainline," and "Time to Regulate."
Mainline's so good.
What's that?
Mainline's so good.
It is, right?
With
Like
the
that, like
dumb,
bass,
simple
like
keyboard scale at the end, which just like goes down and then comes back up. It's like such a simple like carrot on a stick thing, but it works.
Yep.
It really does work.
Related artists: Tense, Spin, and Fantastic Furniture.
Fucking the way they spell their name.
I know. I say it wrong every time because of the way I'm reading it.
But good stuff. And next and last, we have a joint venture on Album of the Week this week. Me and Paul both agreed to discuss the album True by band Ovlov. And I really love this album. Kind of hit me in a way that I was not expecting. Found it somewhere on the internet and just kind of threw it on my list. Was like, I need something to listen to last Friday, and just kind of blew away everything else that came out last week, for me at least. Paul, were you halfway there? I couldn't tell if you weren't all the way on it, or if you just couldn't find anything else.
I actually really hated it.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Gotcha, bitch. No,
you look like a dummy.
I was in the same boat. I was telling you guys I didn't want to choose another like indie rock kind of thing every week, but this was the album that resonated with me mainly. Really great sound. Love the fuzzed out tone on the guitars.
Yeah.
Vocals are sort of powerful in places, understated in others.
Recorded in a tin can, but in a good way, like in a way that I really enjoy.
There are definitely some weaker moments. Like there's a track I didn't like as much. I think it was what was it? It'll come to me eventually, but overall, just thought it was a really solid album. The band itself is kind of mysterious to me.
Yeah, did you read about that? Because I had heard when I ended up liking it a lot, I kind of looked up a little bit about what was going on, and they were like, first album in 5 years, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, 2013 was the last time they released anything. I think they're from Newton, Connecticut, and then if you look at Bandcamp, like how this album was recorded, it was all over the place. I think New York and places like that.
I wonder if they just took like a long break or something. That's
no
interesting.
Idea. Or you'd think you'd hear about them if they are off doing other projects.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. They have a level... I mean, polish is relative with this genre of music, but they have a level of polish that makes it seem like they play together a lot.
Yeah, and it's interesting that their last album came out 5 years ago, because I don't know that I would have had an appreciation for this type of music back then. And it just feels like you mentioned, just so polished and put together. It feels like they've been playing for much longer than, 2 albums, that I was just blown away by it.
The track Fast G has one of the coolest fuzz guitar tones I've ever heard.
Yeah, like, I don't think they... No, there's a couple of clean guitars on here, and some, like, varied. But it's, like, more often than not super fuzzy. There's a dope guitar solo on the song Short Morgan that's just fuzzed out and
dude, you're kidding
grotesque.
me.
Yeah.
That's the track I was thinking of. I thought it was the weakest one.
Oh, really?
I thought that was a shitty solo.
It
sounded
it's
like...
a bad solo, but I love it. It's not.
You're
like,
garbage, but I love you.
No, it's not like musically, it's not interesting at all. But I think it emotionally struck me in a way that I was not expecting. Like, I don't know. I like that song a lot. Short Morgan's great.
It sounded like a student that I just taught the pentatonic scale to.
It's perfect.
It was like,
it fits the
emotional
aesthetic.
response. That's what we're going for.
It fits the aesthetic.
Good for you.
But yeah, it's not much more. It's super short too. I think my only thing is that 1, it's super short, and 2, it's a little bit samey. The whole thing kind of blends together, but it also breezes by. It's only like 30 minutes.
Short is good. I have a short attention span.
Absolutely. It's very, very good. What were your favorite tracks? Do you remember?
I know I liked Fast G.
Okay.
To tell you the truth, I listened to it only twice, and I just kind of let the whole thing play through.
Okay.
So I don't know the track names as much.
That's fine. Baby Alligator, the opener, just is the perfect, I think, distillation of their sound. Grab It From the Garden is the last track. It's like 6 minutes. Kind of meanders a little bit, which is very different.
I was very middle of the road on that one. Yeah.
I like that song. And then I know you didn't like Short Morgan, but Short Morgan's one of my favorites. Related artists.
Yeah,
band called Bliss. Very like fuzzy emo rock. Sparkle Horse. Definitely the vocalist reminds me a lot of Sparkle Horse, and the fuzzy guitars very reminiscent of that. A band called Level Up. I also got Fourth Wanderers a little bit, which I know we liked their stuff quite a bit. It kind of reminded me a little bit of them.
I can see that.
But yeah, that's it. That's good stuff. If you're curious about the singles and albums we talked about today, there will be a playlist up on the website. That would be at bliss.house, bliss.haus, containing all the singles and the best tracks from this week's albums. Definitely check us out on Spotify and every other good site you would find music on, because we're on it. Definitely please check out our latest episodes and all the good playlists and stuff. Put in a lot of work for those, and they're awesome. Very proud of them every week. A lot of good music to find, and we pick all of it. That's it. We pick all the good stuff. Check us out on all the places, like, subscribe, etc. Do all that good stuff. And one last time, visit us at bliss.house, bliss.haus for all of our content. Thanks for coming, gentlemen. This is Blast.
This was fun.